What is going on, guys? My name is Hussein, and in this video I want to go through some advices that I have for junior back-end engineers or people who just got a new job in back-end engineering or just general software engineering. And as I was making this video, this was actually an email sent to me by one of you guys and asking me, it's like, hey, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, I am just started this job and I'm really overwhelmed and I need some help. What advice can you give me as a new backend engineer? And as I was making the video, I noticed that most of these advices actually can be applied to any level, really. You should have these merits or properties. No, that's not the right word. You should have these skills, I guess. Whether you're a beginner backend engineer, intermediate, or even a senior backend engineer, you should have always these things. And it doesn't really apply just for backend software engineering, but that's my specialty anyway. So I'm gonna talk to you guys. All right. So how about we start, guys? So the first advice, guys, is take your time. I know it's been your first week, right? And everything sounds very overwhelming. The new company you joined is using Go and you only know JavaScript, or the new company is using Rust and you only know Python. And it's very overwhelming to look at this tons of repos and source code and all the documentation and the test that's been written for you, right? And you just all of this is thrown at your shoulder, right? So the first thing is really, really take your time because you're new and the company is not expecting a miracle. When they hired you, well, whether you're at any level, they're not really expecting anything in a week, or no matter in a month or two, really. They want it they know there is a cold start for every engineer to pick up this. And a lot of companies like Facebook even take you to mandatory boot camp, right? You have to go through boot camp, whether you're good or not, doesn't matter. Go through the boot camp. So they have this this cold start for every engineer, right? So just like the cold start for a serverless architecture, the problem is the same thing. So take your time, relax, right? Just enjoy learning, right? Be open to experience this thing. You're not gonna get everything in 1 week, and for sure, hell not, you're not gonna get everything in 1 month or 2 years, and even a year, right? You're not gonna understand all of it. So take your time, just relax, and then take each problem piece by piece. And you're gonna get there, right? So take your time and enjoy the journey. You're new. Just remember that. You just started, right? That doesn't mean to have a low bar. No, we're gonna get to that. So that's the first advice. Take your time and just relax, right? And then experience everything around you. Taste everything around you. See what you like, right? Because the company is gonna have several branches. There is backend engineers, there is front-end engineers, there is sometimes edge engineering, which is a new thing that now that's happening, especially with cloud companies, right? There is edge engineering. So taste everything, database engineering, see what you will really, really gravitate to and taste that and see if what you like. Maybe you are a front-end engineer, you excel in front-end engineering and mobile application, you build the best performance mobile applications. Stay there, right? Or maybe you're a database engineer. You analyze every single query and you squeeze every possible performance of every query. It really depends, right? So taste everything, and the company wants you to do that. It sees where do you gravitate to? Because when I first joined my company, I have around 15 years of experience professionally, but I started programming when I was 16 years old. So I'm now 37 years old. Yeah. So yeah, I have a lot of programming experience, but professionally, my experience 15 years. So when I first started on my current job at Esri, right? I've been working with Esri for 5 years, and I didn't know really where to fit, right? They hired me for a specific job, but after 1 year, I end up doing completely different thing because I start tasting everything, and that's what I love about my company. It's just like they says like, where do you fit, and you will gravitate towards something, and eventually you're gonna love it, and you start just producing great output, and they're gonna notice that. They're gonna notice that when you passionate about what you like and what you do, you're gonna produce great output. So take your time. It's gonna come to you like a flashlight. Is that the right saying? I don't know. Advice number two, stay hungry. Keep learning. Make sure that you will never, ever fill up with knowledge. This is a bowl that is never filled. I remember a very popular saying, I'm not sure who said it, maybe Imam Ali, salam alayhi, but I believe the saying, I'm translating to English, but every container will be filled or can be filled by its content except the container of knowledge, right? So if you will never fill that container with knowledge. The knowledge will never be filled. So you can always learn and is never be filled, right? Yeah, there are stuff that you can forget, but there will always be new stuff to learn. So keep up, stay hungry, keep learning, and anything you look at is a potential learning capability. Now, you might not be interested in that thing, and that's absolutely fine. Obviously, I'm not saying that you should learn everything in the world. No, right? I am not interested in flags, right? Yeah, so I'm not interested in flags. I'm not going to learn about flags, right? Or how to design a great flag, right? So I don't care about that particular knowledge, but I do care about how to create a performant database engine that is optimized for writes only, right? So I like that. So I'm going to learn more about it. And you're going to immediately find that. You just, I like this stuff. I don't really care about that stuff. I don't really care about JavaScript event main loop, but I like Python. So you will, and this is unique to you. You will find out that you care about some stuff and some stuff you just don't care about and you don't like. So find that and go as deep as you can. That's what she said. Yeah, so keep learning, stay hungry. And number 3, your colleagues. You're going to work with people. You're going to work with your team. And here's the most important thing. Assume that every single one of your colleague knows something something that you don't. I stole this one from Jordan Peterson, right? And it's kind of a little bit tweaked it, but sure, right? Assume every single one of your colleagues knows something you don't, or because you might not care about these things that you don't know that they know, but they might know something you need to know, and assume that. And that's why you have to listen when they say anything. When they try to explain a problem or try to explain their own code and why it's working this way, or read the comments. It's sometimes from the comments you can tell the personality of the person who writes this thing, unless the person don't do any comments. That's a different story. But yeah, right? And then listen to you in the meetings, right? Maybe you're junior, but speak up only when I would advise against speaking up too early in meetings. You will know the time when you actually want to speak up. Just absorb as much information. That's my advice. I mean, your personality could be you could be extrovert and your personality can shine, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm introvert, so what I would do is I would absorb as much information. I try to understand the situation before I speak. That's just my style, but that's my advice as well. First 2 weeks, try just to absorb unless you're asked, and then when you're asked, don't freak out, right? If somebody asks you a question in a meeting, don't freak out and don't try to impress anybody, because nobody frankly care, right, that you're impressing them. This is not an anime movie or cartoon, right? It's not gonna be so, oh my god, this guy's a genius. No, this is not an anime, okay, guys? Yeah. So assume that they will genuinely know your opinion, and then speak up and just say, yeah, well, let's just think about it logically and just follow logic. So it's okay, there's your question, you're just asking about this. I think it might be a good idea, right, if you do it this way. And if you don't have any opinion, that's absolutely fine, because you knew. What do you know, right? It's just you're probably in your 20s, so yeah, what did you face in your life to know things, right? You have to stuff, and that's absolutely fine. That's why you have to just experience and absorb knowledge, and then don't try to impress anybody. Don't speak to impress. Speak to solve a problem, and that matters, okay? So that's where your colleagues assume, listen, and come back with something useful, right? So always, because the knowledge that your colleague might have will add to your knowledge, and you have no idea until this day, right? 15, 16 years of professional experience. Every single day I go to work, I learn something new, because it's an unlimited knowledge. You're gonna learn something new, and you're gonna be really hyped up when you know that, right? Because that's awesome. To know something, it's a weapon. To know something that other people don't, that's a weapon you can use, and you can sheath it. Sheath it means hide it, keep it for you, and use it only when you absolutely need to. Don't babble words that you heard someone else say. Keep it, analyze it, and we're gonna come to that point. That's the other final point, which is like a question everything. Come to that. Point number 4: never, ever badmouth your colleagues' code. Okay, even if the code sucks, even if the code is so bad, never ever do that. That's just unprofessional, and that's absolutely destroys your career and your life. It might be enticing to gossip about someone. Says, oh, look at this gal or girl or guy that they don't know how to write code. Look at them, it's like using a recursion without a base condition. Or look at them, doing a loop with a big old n square. No, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy, guys. Don't be that guy. Never ever do this. Yeah, if you see something bad, speak up, but hey, be nice. Genuinely be nice, because people are nice to whomever they are nice to. So it's like, yeah, if you saw a piece of code that you don't understand, or you think it's bad, yes, you absolutely sure it's that. Never say that I'm absolutely sure it's bad. Say that, hey, I think we can write this in a better way, like maybe like this, to avoid that extra latency, because if we have like a big array, that might slow things down. Or for example, we're querying this database, but that field that you're querying essentially doesn't have an index, so that's going to be slow. Maybe we're going to want to add an index, so do you want me to create an issue to create an index on the database for that field? Or, hey, you're doing a select star here, but you're only using the name field, so might as well just do. So yeah, try to, as much as possible, never talk about other people's code, or try to just go to your manager and say, oh, this guy wrote a bad code, and I helped him, and I did this. and I did that. Managers don't like that. Boss, nobody like that, by the way, right? Always stay humble, right? And yeah, you're gonna find a lot of bad code. Just point it nicely. And that goes to you guys, senior engineers specifically. Most senior engineers are just absolute assholes sometimes because they reach after 5 or 6 years and they think they know everything. You don't, guys. You don't know jack, right? So just be nice. Chill, all right? Yeah, you're always gonna learn something. Sometimes the code that you think is bad is there for a reason. Can you be curious to know why it's there and assume you're wrong? Even if you're absolutely 100% sure that it's bad. Propose a good solution. Don't just say, oh, that's a problem, oh, that's bad, and that code is bad, and just stay back. No. Be nice and propose a solution. So say, okay, can we do it this way instead? Because that could be bad, right? And I see this all the time on open source repositories, and the poor maintainers are getting slaughtered out there. They're getting slaughtered for what? For an uninitialized variable, for God's sake. It's just a mess out there, guys. I don't know, man. So don't be that guy, right? Just be nice, because we're all human. We crave social interaction, and we like people to treat us good, right? Even if if the person that you're talking to is not a perfect engineer, and nobody is, right? Try to teach him, even if you're good. Now I'm speaking to the senior ones, right? The people who think they're senior and you know everything. No, speak and treat people like they're a human being, and always try to teach. Don't try to force your ideologies on someone. Last point. Question everything. I'm back to the junior ones now. Question every single thing. Guys, if this code is written by a developer who has 30 years of experience, that doesn't mean it's perfect. That doesn't mean they know everything. If it's written by Sergey Brin or Larry Page, even so, it doesn't mean anything, right? Because guess what? Don't take it for granted. Question everything. If you don't understand something, question everything. Yeah, you might look stupid for people who are essentially over their head and they think any question is dumb. You don't want to work with those people, right? You want people to work with colleagues and people that can essentially accept those questions. And most companies have good engineers, and they will not hire arrogant engineers, right? You don't want to be an arrogant engineer, guys. Believe me, right? So always question everything. You're reading a piece of code and you don't understand something, say, well, why is this here? I don't understand it. And this come back to our first point. It's like, oh, there might be a reason for it, right? Because it's like, yeah, even if you're reading it, you think it's a bad code, but no, it's the most optimal code that's been written for that particular use case because of million other things that you don't know jack about, right? Because you're new, you don't know anything, right? So question, and they will explain it. And guess what? When they explain it to you, it's like, hey, we did this for 20 years, and that's the best solution we came up with. You might come back and say, well, yes, it's been 20 years, but I heard about this technology that could do this and this and this, right? Oh, you guys are doing sharding, for example, by hand, and you're writing all this code here. What about we can use a technology like Vitess that does the sharding for us and kind of minimize? They might say, okay, that's a great idea, right? We might consider it. Go ahead and go and research. And you come back. And this might be a fruitful. And you say, whoa, this guy suggested something and it saves the company hundreds of millions of dollars because of you. Because that question that you were so afraid to ask? Obviously, not every question will lead to something. You gotta be realistic here, right? It's not gonna be always the positive side. You might propose a technology that says, "Nope, I'm sorry, that technology." And you go, okay, go ahead, go research that technology, come back, and then it's gonna only give us 5% performance or 7% performance. Now the company, back to the CTO, the Chief Technical Officer, right, and Technology Officer, and here's like where the CTO, a real good CTO, will come. It's like, okay, is it really worth it to move to this technology for a 7%? And most CTOs will say no, right? Because that makes sense fiscally, right? Just like, it doesn't really make sense to move to this technology for just a 7% or 5% or even 4 or even 10%. If it gives like 50, 70, 80%, then whoa, wait a second. Definitely need to move there. And that's, I think, what most of the problems happen with Kubernetes. A lot of people are just blindly moving to this technology without knowing the cost of this technology, of maintaining all this infrastructure, right? And which leads them up to like, okay, maintain all this infrastructure, but oh no, how about, you don't need to maintain, just host it in the cloud, and the cloud is not cheap, right? So that's another topic for another time, but question everything, guys. Question every single thing. You're reading a code, question it, right? You're reading some doc, question it. If you feel you don't understand something, question everything. And that will immediately lead to something, right? And you might lead into, it depends really on who are you questioning. Some people are impatient, and I'm sorry, that's just your bad luck to work with people like that, right? Some people are really, really helpful, right? And I work with a lot of impatient people, and I work with a lot of patient people. And obviously, I prefer the patient people because I can learn, right, from them. Obviously, don't try to go over the board by asking them every single minute a question and just absorbing all their bandwidth. Be realistic, right? Just like try to answer some of these questions yourself. Compile the most important thing that those questions that you absolutely couldn't answer, right? By actually spending some mental cycles on. All right, guys. That was some advices that I can give you guys for, especially, I know I tailored these examples for backend engineering, but I believe it fits for every level and pretty much fits for any type of engineer, front end or back end. But most of my examples were given here as essentially back end engineering example because that's my experience. And hope you enjoyed this video. What do you guys think? What did I miss? And what do you want me to talk about next? Stay awesome, stay safe, stay humble. See you in the next one.